Díomh is mis cuiimhní bhhailí tá mé mar aimimeach baireachta agus ideachais le Conradh na Gaeilge. So hello, my name's Caoimhe. I'm the Education and Membership Executive with Conradh na Gaeilge, and I'm delighted to be here to discuss the importance of the Irish language as part of Heritage Week. And I think not just Irish, but languages generally reflect the state of a culture and carry with them the history and the heritage of times gone by. And the root purpose of any culture is often considered to inform means of subsistence. So landscape is stamped onto any given language from the culture. And from an environmental perspective, which will of course be an aspect of this year's Heritage Week, the issue, or an issue faced by Ireland and other countries, is that major languages have been updated to reflect modern times, meaning that they reform the means for subsistence that we have today. And this has resulted in both personal and generational amnesia of ways of knowing that we're predominantly informed by the pre-industrialised or pre-digitised physical landscape. So first of all, I'll give a little account of who are we, our heritage, our history, but also just to consider that by promoting the language for Heritage Week, you can argue, or you could choose to view it as a way to reintroduce the knowledge of that heritage and of how the landscape and of how Ireland was. People in sustainability often talk about a stepping back into the past. For instance, Moncan McGann, I'm sure you've heard of 32 words for field, and the research that demonstrates that access to nature directly impacts suicide rates and mental health. And a lot of that research is coming from E.O. Wilson's biophilia hypothesis, which shows that humans are drawn towards nature and history in language, and that his hypothesis is that younger generations are no longer able to fulfill this craving that exists within the human mind. And that might be a bit theoretical, but from a policy perspective, reclaiming heritage, reclaiming Indigenous languages as part of our heritage can be of benefit both to conservation efforts and to the mental health crisis. So Conradh na Gaeilge came with, who are we? As mentioned, we were founded in 1893 as the Gaelic League. We currently have over 200 branches around Ireland and abroad. We're a charity, but we're also structured as the democratic forum for the Irish language speaking community. So a bit like a political party. We've around 35 staff in 4 offices. I'm placed on Harcourt Street, number 6. So that would have been where Sinn Féin's headquarters were at the time of the first Dáil. Michael Collins hid there. Very important building, a really historical organisation, and one I'm very proud to work for. Our earliest successful campaign was for St. Patrick's Day to be turned into a national holiday. So it was traditionally our main fundraising day. So the next slide, Cainteoir Gaeilge de Réir Daonóir of na hÉireann, or Irish language speakers, as per the 2016 census. So when we were founded in 1893, the Irish language was in a very vulnerable place due to famine, colonisation, penal laws in the preceding centuries, and were genuinely on the verge of extinction. To have lost Irish would have, of course, to have lost Irish would have been to lose a really integral part of Irish history, one of the oldest languages in the world, the oldest written language in Europe, first appearing in Ogham script in the 3rd century. And while it's linked to Scots Gaelic and Manx, it would be considered a pure language in that if you trace the etymological root of Irish, you will find the verb's root within the Irish language itself, as opposed to, say, in English, where oftentimes it's a Germanic root or a French root. So the stuff that we do at the moment both serves the existing Irish language community and seeks to serve and increase the number of Irish language speakers. So we have campaigns like Seachtain na Gaeilge and Gaeilge Fiche Chathair, which are aimed to get people who don't normally or ordinarily speak Irish to speak more Irish. We lobby for legislative language protection north and south, reforms to the curriculum, to the way it's taught, so that every child leaves school with an appropriate level of Irish for the 14 years they've spent studying it. We have campaigns to freistallar iad siúd atá Gaeilge acu, so Gníomhaí Gaeilge for third level students who want to go through third level living their lives through Irish. At the bottom there, Troy's Butchers, that's part of our Líonra Gnó, our business network of SMEs who want to operate through Irish. We have Radio Rerá, an Irish language station for young people, and then we have archival work as well. So on Clive Sullish was our newsletter originally. Padraig McPearse, or Patrick Pearse, was the editor of that. How many people speak Irish in Ireland? 2 million people reported on the last census that they could speak Irish fluently. Of that, 80,000 speak Irish every day outside of the education system. Our research shows that nearly half of people in the south and a quarter of people in the north want more opportunities to speak Irish. So nearly 3 million people want to be able to speak Irish more often. How can National Heritage Week events serve those people, freistallar, who incorporate more Irish? And the first way is Lug Anamnacha, place names. They're all around us, they're hard to ignore. And there's really good resources for place names for finding out. So for instance, if you see there, I've put luganam.ie. It's a free resource open to everyone. You can put in any place name in Ireland, a street name, and it will give you the English and the Irish and also tell you about it. So for example, Ballybock in Dublin. Yes, it's an Irishy name, but you're not learning anything about the name. In Irish, Ballynamucht, the town of the poor, a historically, economically deprived area. Or Rathgar, I've put there, Garav meaning rough. It was a rough plain. Last year, Éineach na Naoise was one of the National Heritage Week events. They did their name in Irish. It's very easy to do, to incorporate Irish into the place name. Maybe in poster design, you're going to use the Irish name of the place, Cork, Kirkig, a basic level of Irish that everyone has, using both Irish and English, or only using the Irish version. Noscana, Connections, a theme of National Heritage Week 2024, connecting with the existing Irish language community. If you go to our website, cnag.ie, you can engage with our interactive map, click on any county and find all the groups that are operating there in Irish already, running events on a weekly, monthly, fortnightly basis through Irish that will engage with you and that would be more than happy to take part in National Heritage Week events. If you are running an event and it is bilingual or through Irish, we can add your event to peg.ie, which gets 200,000 hits a week and is a list of all the events happening all over Ireland through Irish every week. But also Noscana and connections with Irish that's already there. So for instance, maybe there are areas of local or historical importance. We have a digitised archive of Conradh na Gaeilge thanks to University of Galway. It launched last year, which contains really lots of hidden gems about local political history, the history of the GAA in various areas on a parochial basis, Gaeilge at a really small level, and also contains lots of texts from various areas in Ireland. Every single county in Ireland is represented in the archive in some form, whether it's through dance, through GAA, through participation with the Gaelic League or with Conradh na Gaeilge through history. Guish.ie is another great resource, and it contains a huge volume of digitised Irish work, and the digitisation of the Irish language has led to really, really impressive and interesting research, especially with AI and the emergence of artificial intelligence and the way in which we can engage with Irish as a modern and contemporary source of research. Social media, so of all the languages in the world, Wikipedia, Facebook, Gmail, WhatsApp, Instagram, have recognised that Irish is spoken, that there is a large community of people wanting to operate through Irish online. Can you engage your event with these services? Before your event, can you release a list of stórfocal or vocab for the day? Maybe you're doing a walking trail, you want to post and say that Siúlóid is the Irish for walking trail. Hashtag Gaeilge on TikTok has over 150 million views. So another way that Irish can be incorporated before the event. And then when you're running the event, maybe you've planned the event already, it's an English-speaking event. Are there ways to incorporate the Irish language therein? So are facilitators or stewards going to have Irish? Is there going to be someone with Irish? Can they show that by wearing the fáinne? I have one on now. Or by having a badge of Leabhar Gaeilge alum. If you're providing a resource in text form, a Tuireach Taisce or treasure hunt? Can that also be provided in Irish? Can you have a pop-up Gaeltacht in the corner of one of your events? If you're doing a Ihe Seanchaíochta or storytelling or poetry night, is there a way to incorporate Irish storytelling and Irish poetry into that event as well? A play panel or a panel discussion, have you invited an Irish speaker? Is that something there's room to do at the event? And on the National Heritage Week website, there's loads of sources of inspiration for things you can run. So a few suggestions for some of those suggestions on how they can be Gaelified or how Irish can be added to them. Recording a podcast, I think a podcast is such a great resource because it means that anyone in the world can listen to your local history, our shared heritage. Can you incorporate Irish into that? Irish podcasts are really Fuiv Láthair. You have How to Gael doing live shows, selling out in Liberty Hall Theatre, Bio Egan on RTE, na Seansalacha, who are based out of Connemara, na Gael Gals, who are based out of Maynooth, on Sputta Dove, being to play Corsi Sport, Axella. Documentary film screenings, TG Cahir Player, a huge resource of really high quality, interesting documentaries that you might not otherwise come across and you wouldn't see on Netflix. For instance, Inishmaan, the contemporary life on Inishmaan. Corcum and Kirkaguivna, the Mehel Mara, so the marine industry in Kirkaguivna, Shias the Dingle Peninsula, Tilta, which explored the increase in flooding recently in Ireland, and then of course you films like Aracht, which looked at the famine, or on Colleen Kuhn, if you're incorporating a literary element into your Heritage Week event. Language exchange, of course, Irish culture has changed, it now reflects a much more diverse society. Is there a way to link our national language and our hereditary language with other languages and languages that are new to Ireland? On Céad Míle Fáilte a Chórt Dóibh, there's already a wealth of resources changing Ukrainian and Arabic to Irish. Can those be incorporated? Can you have a conversation circle, a Majin Cafe, a Kirkle Cora, and tell everyone to bring their favourite proverb from their home language? Where we walk, again, I mentioned loganam.ie, and I have an example there that I think is really interesting. So Nassau Street, so named for William of Orange Nassau, has been translated to Shráid Nassau, but the original name of that street is Shráid Hubbard Fádrick, because as you enter Trinity College, on your left, if you peer over the railings, you'll see a historical well, Tubber Fádrick, so Tubber means well. So the Irish place names often tell you more about the history of the area than the English will, and those are reflected. But I think a really lovely event would be a Siúlóid Stara, a historical walk. You can see there that the resources exist in English, they can easily be translated. You can do a Tuireach Taisce or a treasure hunt for children, again incorporating the Irish language therein. Legends and folk tales, again, so much of that is rooted in the Irish language. A banshee, we all know what that is, but a ban being a woman, a she being a magical person, of Nadini she, the Fae people. Incorporating it into local history, Cú Cullen Satanta, Cú meaning hound, who's the Hound of Cullen. He took over as the guard dog after an unfortunate slitter to the dog's throat. If you look at there's Finch Gaelta Kilwanton of Wicklow. They exist for every county in Ireland. They're already in Irish. They can be incorporated into national history events. We have loads of resources available. I mentioned peg.ie. If you're running any kind of bilingual event, we'll publish it for you. We have 17,000 followers on Instagram. We would be happy to share to promote any Irish language event. Dréimere is a translation service we run. There are loads of other translation services out there, but obviously I'll promote ours. If you're looking or interested in organising classes before National Heritage Week or during, get in contact with rongana@cnag.ie. And of course, now is the best time to learn Irish. There have never been more resources with which to learn Irish, whether that's Duolingo, Rongana Ibarson, TikTok View. But yeah, massam sin é wem, Gurv Míle Maith Agaibh.